Good morning on the 8th of May, VE Day. Today is a day where we celebrate peace because Jesus tells us that blessed are the peacemakers, for they shall be called the children of God. Today we give thanks for 70 years of peace. But what does that mean? What does that look like? Since the Second World War, there has been Korea and Vietnam, there's been Aden and the Irish Troubles, there have been the Falklands and Iraq and Afghanistan, just to name a few. Is the peace that we talk about the peace that we see on our doorstep? Is it peace which doesn't use the word war attached to it? Peace is for all people, and for this VE Day we give thanks that there is peace throughout Europe, especially the people we know and love from countries who a long time ago we did not regard as allies. Philippians says, "Do not be anxious about everything, but in every situation by prayer and petition with thanksgiving present your requests to God. And the peace of God, which transcends all understanding, will guard your hearts and minds in Christ Jesus." There is a poem by Maya Angelou, and it's called "When Great Trees Fall." When great trees fall, rocks on distant hills shudder, lions hunker down in tall grasses, and even elephants lumber after safety. When great trees fall in forests, small things recoil into silence, their senses eroded beyond fear. When great souls die, the air around us becomes light, rare, sterile. We breathe briefly. Our eyes briefly see with a hurtful clarity. Our memory, suddenly sharpened, examines, gnaws on kind words unsaid, promised walks never taken. Great souls die, and our reality bound to them takes leave of us. Our souls, dependent upon their nurture, now shrink wizened. Our minds, formed and informed by their radiance, fall away. We are not so much maddened as reduced to the unutterable ignorance of dark, cold caves. And when great souls die, after period, peace blooms, slowly and always irregularly. Spaces fill with a kind of soothing electric vibration. Our senses, restored, never to be the same, whisper to us, they existed, we can be and be better, for they existed. One of my favourite stories from the war came from one of the congregation called Alec. Alec was at the Battle of Monte Cassino, and he went into a bombed out house at the base of Monte Cassino, and he was wounded, and so he was put on a stretcher, and the stretcher bearers walked up the road with him, and every time a mortar shell came in, they dropped him and his stretcher on the ground, and the stretcher bearers jumped into the ditches. And this went on, and in the middle of this, he said to them, "You're going the wrong way. You're going towards the enemy." And then this tank arrived and informed them that they were indeed going the wrong way. So they turned around and they walked back up the road, and every time the mortars came in, they threw them on the ground and they jumped in the ditches. And this continued for a long time until this American Jeep arrived. And the American Jeep took him on his stretcher all the way to an American field hospital, where he always claimed he was one of the first British soldiers to get penicillin. And he was then taken to a hospital ship and to North Africa, where he was cared for and he recovered. But for 10 weeks of the war, his wife thought he was missing, presumed dead, which was what the telegram she got said. And so he always said he spent the rest of his life making up to her the fact that for 10 weeks he thought she was dead. And one of the nurses in that hospital at the time, who nursed him, and he always said she did, turned out to be his next door neighbour when they were both in the retirement home. And they were able to share stories of wounded friends and comrades and what it was like to be there. Martin Luther King said, "Darkness cannot drive out darkness, only light can do that. Hate cannot drive out hate, only love can do that." And so today, we give thanks for all the love that is in our lives and in the world. And we give thanks for all those people of light who fought and died and survived so that we might have a world without war. The Lord bless you and keep you. The Lord make his face to shine on you and be gracious upon you. The Lord turn his face towards you and give you peace. And at 10:40 today, Legion Scotland is having their VE Day service. You may see and hear a few people that you know from the congregation and the choir. And take care, and I look forward to seeing you all on Sunday. Have a lovely VE Day and public holiday to all our friends in every nation who's watching, and take care and be at peace.